let's talk about what down in Portland last night. Lillard goes back. It's Doc Rivers' second game. They lose for the second straight time. Obviously, Lillard wants to win there. I'm sure real bad. What are you concerned about the Bucks, or in danger of going from like second place to about fifth or sixth in the East right now?
I was concerned before that just because the chemistry at the beginning of the season. And Adrian Griffin was a really good friend of mine. Actually, we played together with the Rockets. And I knew it was going to be a tough ask because of the expectations of what the Bucks organization in that city, wanted to see from that team. And when you make those strategical changes like you did, and it doesn't seem like a lot, but when you bring a Dame in and you lose a Drew Holiday, the dynamics are so different in how they operate, how the team operates. And it takes time for that to kind of, sprout some of its flowers a little bit, because you're asking a guy like Dame to come in to understand how to play with a player like Giannis. He's never had that, and vice versa. And how that works, and how does Bobby Portis fit off of that? How does Lopez fit off of that? Connaughton, all of that with a new coach, new system. So that's tough. And then you make the change. Doc Rivers already has in his mind kind of what he wants to do, but he's still trying to feel things out. It's never easy to make a move mid-season, especially with a philosophy when you haven't been there during training camp. So I'm concerned from the perspective of continuity. I'm not from a talent perspective. Can they get enough continuity with Doc heading into the end of the year, into the playoffs, and gain some momentum? That's the thing. With
got 2 months, right? Pretty much.
And you know how fast 2 months goes by. And you got to keep in mind that you're not practicing. So it's different, like, if you could practice and really dig into some things. But at this point of the season and moving forward, no time is going to be spent hard on the practice court. It's going to be a lot of walkthroughs, individual workouts. So you're not going to be able to really gel and kind of get that philosophy down outside of just being on the court playing in games.
Why not, just for those who might be hearing the same, why no practicing? I know the way the NBA season usually goes, but, I mean, what about changing up here? Like, you've got to...
No, most teams won't. I mean, when I was first coming in the league, Pat Riley, we practiced all the time, 2 to 3 hours. But generally, most coaches, as you kind of bled into the NBA season because you're playing so many games, you pull back on practice. You might have 1 or 2 hard ones during the week, maybe, depending on your travel schedule. If you have a long, homestand at home, then you can put in a little bit more work of practice to do it. But it's not going to be enough to where I believe it makes a strategical difference to really hone in what you're going to do. It's going to be cause and effect, cause and error, learning on the fly, and a lot of film work of what they want to do with Doc Rivers.
So what does Doc want to do? What do you think he can do to affect something in the next 2+ months to get this thing in where, obviously, listen, Giannis, you mentioned, Holiday gone, but Giannis basically told the Bucks over the summer, like, hey, you can do something?
Yeah.
Like, basically, you're going to make your move here?
Well,
and then they went ahead and got...
Too. Coaching-wise.
Right.
Because you think about it, if he wanted Bud Sitter, and I can't dig into his mindset because I don't know, and I try to stay away from that.
Yes.
But I'm sure that if he wanted to push to keep Bud there,
he'd be there.
Yeah. If he wanted to push to keep Adrian Griffin there, he probably would be there.
Yes.
So you do have an onus as you can't have it one way and not the other when you're the franchise guy and you want to have a voice and you want to be heard and you want your opinions to be heard. You can't just have it on one end and say, well, no, I didn't have anything to do with it, or it wasn't my decision. Well, you may not have said yes or no, but you may not have given a definitive answer too, and which probably caused the ownership to do some different things as well.
So I guess what can Doc affect? Because, again, the defense is what we're talking about here.
Yep.
And you're like, hey, Holiday out. Obviously, he's one of the best, if not the best, at the position in terms of defense and changes things around. And but Lillard is in, and he's as great as they come on the offensive end. What is Doc going to do with these pieces that you think he can actually make it work?
Well, first of all, defense is all about if you really want to do it as a player. Forget about the coach. Defensive schemes, you're switching a lot of things anyway, okay? So schematically, there's only so much you can do. Now you can hedge, you can push down to the baseline, you can switch out, you can do some things like that. But individually, you gotta really want to play defense. Drew Holiday wanted to play D. Okay, he wanted to guard the best player, especially when it came to a guard position. And a lot of times, because he did that, you didn't have to help as much.
Yes.
So it didn't break down the back line of your defense. Because once you get a team in rotation, that's when you got them. Okay, so it first starts with the players individually wanting to be a better defensive team. Second, Doc has to understand, like anything else, okay, if we have a flaw in our defensive schemes or a person, how can we best cover it up? And that's how you do it. I mean, and now how he does that in the game with Giannis being able to cover so much space and Brook having the size and Bobby Porter's coming in, because they're going to have to cover up for Dame in the pick and roll, because they're going to run a lot of pick and rolls. You're going to get broken down. Now you're going to be in rotation, and that's when you can start spraying it out, especially against the really good teams that can shoot the ball.
Catch the Rich Eisen Show every single day on the Roku channel, 12 to 3 Eastern, for free.